Welcome, everyone, to the Success Elevated podcast. As always, I'm your host, Hayden Lee, and I am joined this week by my co-host, founding partner here at Spot On Solutions, Katie Harris.
Hey, let's talk marketing.
Let's do it, Katie. Thanks for coming back on.
Yeah.
We wanted to record this podcast to talk a little bit about some things we're looking forward to, things we're getting ready for going into 2026. We learned a lot this year, and we want to kind of start maybe strategizing, I guess, for lack of a better term, things that we want to do a little bit better or do differently in 2026. And one of the things that we obviously talk about a lot is marketing. That's what we do in our day-to-day lives is kind of help our clients grow their businesses through digital marketing. What are some things that you're kind of, or what is maybe one thing that you're really thinking about as you're heading into 2026?
Well, geez.
You could sum it up into one.
That is a lot. But I think there is like a question, right?
Yeah.
That I just am asking people a lot as I kind of talk to them about what is going on. And here's a question is, if you stopped all your marketing tomorrow, would people know who you are and would they be able to find you? I think some people can be like, like I'm in my community, I'm in my chamber. And I'd be like, well, your chamber's kind of you doing your marketing, right? So just think about all of the activities that you do ongoing that are actually marketing activities. So you're going to a chamber, you're going to BNI, you're sponsoring a Little League team, you're running ads, you're on social media, you're running YouTube, like all the activities that we do that are all actually marketing activities. So if you stopped all those, would people know who you are? And then how would they find you? Yeah.
And I think if you can't somewhat clearly define or answer that question, then maybe your marketing needs some help. Maybe there's some things that you need to do differently. A common thing that I always talk with clients, and I think it relates to, it's basically your questions just rephrased, but when I'm first talking with a lot of my clients, I always tell them like they need to be able to answer three basic things, like who are you? Who's your ideal customer and where are they?
Yeah.
Which is kind of those same two questions that you highlighted as well, just a little bit different, right? That it's like, you need to be able to clearly define who you are.
Yep.
First and foremost, more than like, hey, how much are you willing to spend on Google Ads, or how many posts are you doing a day on social media? Like more than anything else, you need to be able to answer very clearly, like, who are you? And by you, I mean you and your business.
And in marketing terms, that would be like, how strong is your brand?
Yeah. Are people aware of your business in any way, shape, or form? And
sometimes it's like, your brand doesn't have the greatest connotation, right? And sometimes
you don't have a great reputation.
And sometimes the brand is super powerful in a community. And so, but like, who are you, right? That's what we're talking about is like, what is your brand strength in your community?
Yeah.
In your market.
Super important. Brand strength. That term I think gets underutilized. I like to call it, I had a word for it, like brand authority, but it's almost like, it's like your social equity. Like, are people aware of you, and what, if you could break that on a scale, like, is it positive? Is it negative? Would you give yourself an A or a F, or is it 1 out of 10?
That's going to go right into the next part, which is your referral momentum, right?
Yep.
Because if people are really aware of you and you've got a good brand name, right, then what you're going to get is referral momentum, where your business is growing by word of mouth and by referrals. Like, we need to have brand authority and we need to have referral momentum to really have some powerful punch behind our marketing, right? Because you can go pay for your ads, you can do the marketing activities, but I want all of those activities backed by brand authority and referral momentum.
And I think it's further backed by, it's easy for us, we're in the marketing world. So we run Google Ads for our clients. We help them do SEO, whatever it is, right? I tell people all the time, it is easy for me to do my job for awesome companies. And that essentially means, like, do you have, like, is your brand well known by people? Do you have good brand strength? Because if we shut all the marketing off, if we shut all your ads off, are people still getting referrals? Are people still saying, hey, you should go use such and such business down the road because they're awesome and I love them and they took care of me during this crisis or whatever this issue was. So the brand strength, the brand momentum, it's referral momentum is a good way to phrase that. Because if you shut everything off, are people still going to be able to, like, find you, or would they still hear about you just by word of mouth?
And I I think the reason why that's all important is because I think we underestimate how much power that actually has behind the paid stuff, right?
Yep.
Your paid stuff's going to show up, but they're also going to be checking your reviews. They're also going to be wondering if they've seen your name anywhere else, if they've heard about you somewhere else. So if you have a foundation of like brand strength and referrals that are out there, then it's going to give a lift to everything else you do.
Yeah. It generally helps, kind of the other point that we talked about here a little bit was like your long-term visibility. A common analogy that we use, and this is specifically for SEO, but I think it applies to just your marketing in general, is, there's a difference between renting a home and like building a house yourself, right?
Yeah.
Renting a home is great, and you can rent a home very quickly. You can sign a lease and get into a house and get into, to an apartment very, very quickly. It's easy to do. That would be more your paid ads or, doing a bunch of social media posts, whatever it is. Like you can do that very quickly and get stuff up and running fast. But if you want to build a home or build equity in a home, long term, you have to have good brand recognition and you have to have good brand strength. And that is more than just doing SEO or doing ads for a long period of time. You've got to have good reviews. People have to know who you are, and you have to do a good job. Like we can drive lots of leads, but if you're not doing a good job, if you're not, you can get lots of leads or get lots of calls, but if you're not doing a good job, you're not going to get that business coming back.
The first of the year, this is such a great time to just step back and look at your business as a whole. Like, how are we doing overall? And one of the things that I think is a good question to ask is, what do I want to be known as? What do we want to be known as in the industry, in the market, for our customers? Do you want to be known as the fastest? Do you want to be known as the most trustworthy? Do you want to be known as the cheapest, right? Like, probably not the cheapest, but some people, that's their model. Like, I want to be known as the cheapest. I want to be known as the highest end, right? You've got to be clear on what that messaging is so that your brand can just be powered by that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it too is, this goes back to just like basic, like products. Like if you're selling tennis shoes or whatever, if you're selling a product, a couple of the first questions you would ask are like, what's a problem that my customers have, and like, how can I solve it?
And how can I solve it better than anyone else?
Everybody else. Because listen, if a problem that a customer has, if you're in the tennis shoe business, is like, everybody needs some shoes, but how are you going to solve that problem better or differently than anybody else, right? And so it applies to the home service industry, whatever industry you're in.
Shoes are a really good example of some of the things we just talked about. Brand authority, right?
Yep.
Brand recognition and referral momentum.
Yep.
Well, what happens when the coolest pair of shoes drops?
Yeah.
Brand recognition. Hayden's wearing them. I'm going to wear them, right? Like referral momentum. This is true of whether it's a pair of shoes or a service that you offer, whatever that is. These all play into people's decision-making. We don't always recognize how powerful that is in the decision-making process. And so you want to know, like, what all those things look like. And then you want to know, what do we do that is better than anybody else? And that's got to start going into your marketing message, how you show up, and all those things.
It's not just about being like first or being the loudest.
Right.
It's about like, can your message be the most clear?
Yes.
Can you separate yourself in a way that like your potential customers and clients can understand? Like, this is who this business is. This is who Katie Harris LLC is, and how does it separate her from everybody else?
Yeah.
That
reminds me, there's like such a good book out there, and it's called You Ask, They Answer. If you go back a couple of years, it's a Google Partners podcast. It's a 2-part series by the author of that book on the Google Partners podcast. And the book is You Ask, They Answer. And it's all based on this idea of the person who answers the questions the best wins, because we have so much information in the palm of our hands anytime that we can go get it. And we are so demanding as consumers now that the person that can be super clear on what the message is and provide the information the best is the person that's going to win. And I will tell you that is even more true today with AI. Like, you want to make sure that all your content you're putting out there is taking all the questions that somebody would ask, and you have an answer for it that's available online. You want to have man, they ask, you answer, you figure out all the questions that you're getting asked and you have an answer for those, you're going to win.
You're going to win. You're going to beat out your competition.
Yep.
So let's, I like to try and leave, end podcasts with like very clear, actionable things. And I feel like we've done a good job in the past of doing that in podcasts. And so I want to do that here as well. So, if all marketing stopped tomorrow, how would people know who we are? And, what are some actionable things to do? If there are people out there listening that are like, man, if we shut off all of our ads tomorrow, I don't know how we would get any more business.
Yeah.
I don't know how we would continue to grow. I don't know if we would, we'd have to lay employees off, whatever it is, right? What are some actionable things that you think those businesses could do?
Yeah. I think you have got to be rooted in your community. So
love that.
So often, we'll have people come and they want digital to kind of be a magic bullet for them.
Yeah.
It's just not. I wish it was.
I wish it was.
And sometimes it is. Sometimes you turn on ads and guess what?
And it fixes it. Yeah.
And it fixes it. A lot of times it does. You turn on ads and it fixes it for sure. But it's not going to solve everything, right? It doesn't solve what is your reputation? How noticeable is your name? How many reviews do you have? How do you show up on a job? Like, it doesn't solve all that. And so you've got to figure that out. And I love the first of the year is a great time to just sit back and evaluate a little bit and be like, hey, if somebody was going to describe my company, what 10 words would they use? If you have a team, right? If you're a one-man show, just sit down and figure it out. Ask yourself the hard question, look in the mirror, write those down. If you've got a team, put them in a room and let them brainstorm and throw out every word they can think of and try to find what that brand voice is. What is it that sets you apart? And then, like we talked about for a minute, like, what do you do better than anybody else, right? Yeah. You're more caring, you're more empathetic, you're whatever that is. Figure that out and stick really true to it. Put it in your messaging, and then you can start adding on different marketing. You can invest on different things like that and know that your foundation is really strong of who you are.
Yeah, I love the idea of being rooted in the community. Like, there's no replacement. I can't create an ad good enough that will replace being rooted in your community.
I can't create an ad that replaces showing up and cleaning all the police officers' cars.
Can't do it.
I can't create an ad, good enough for the people that I showed up and helped during a flood, right? Yeah. Those things that are just, you got to be there. And in a world where we're going to talk a whole lot about AI, and AI is going to really matter, the people that still show up and are building the relationships, those people stand out.
Yeah. And what's crazy, again, we have done podcasts and we will continue to do podcasts about AI. What's crazy about AI is it knows about stuff like that. Like it can learn that about your business just from the internet. If you're out in the community doing those types of things and supporting your community and supporting the local baseball team or whatever it is, like AI, people are going to know that. Whether through AI or whatever it might be. So it's really cool. I love asking this question. It's a question I'm going to ask a lot more of my clients this year.
The reason, first of all, please don't ever stop all your marketing, right? Like, please don't ever stop all your marketing. That's not what I'm saying right here. But I think that the question just forces us to kind of look in the mirror and be like, am I true to who I really want to be as a brand?
Well, and it'll help your marketing get better. Yeah. Like
it'll help your marketing get better.
If you can clearly answer that and maybe answer it better in 2026 than you did in 2025, your marketing will get better.
Yeah.
So like, it's not going to replace your marketing. You still got to, go do some ads and get a billboard and do some broadcasts, whatever it is. It's just going to make it better if you can more clearly define it. So I love it. Katie, thanks so much. This is I'm glad you came up with this question because it's something that I've thought about a lot and it's something I want to ask a lot more of my clients this year. And I love it so much. Excited for more podcasts to talk about this as well as AI and everything else. And
marketing in 2026.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Katie.
Thanks.